What's up, guys? I came across this cool UI on Dribble and thought it would be fun to remake it with Flutter and turn it into a tutorial. So in this video, we're going to build a Flutter Image Picker app using the exact same UI you just saw in the preview. We'll be using Flutter Bloc for state management, clean architecture principles, separation of concerns, and a clean UI. Let's get into it. First, I want to show you what the final product looks like. Here's the completed app. We can pick an image, and when we do, it updates the state and displays the image on the screen. We also have this clear button which resets the state and removes the image, so we can repeat the process and pick another one. Before we jump into the code, I want to quickly explain the folder structure of the app. This structure is based on clean architecture and separation of concerns. Inside the lib folder, we have a src folder, which contains the app and meta folders. Inside the app folder, there's a home folder that contains everything related to the home page, including the block folder for state management, the pages folder where we build the UI, and the repository folder that handles external logic like image picking or API calls. The meta folder holds shared widgets and app-wide constants. Now we're going to get started in the pubspec.yaml file by adding the required packages. We'll add Flutter Bloc and Equatable for state management and Image Picker for selecting images from the camera or gallery. I'm also adding a custom font for this app, Circular Standard. After adding these dependencies, we'll run Flutter pub get to install them. Quick side note, I used the block VS Code extension to generate some starter code. You can install it by searching block in the extensions tab. It should be the first result. Now let's head over to main.dart. At this point, we have a basic Flutter app set up with a stateless widget and the runoff function. We'll import the necessary block packages and wrap our app in a block provider. In the create parameter, we'll return an instance of home block and inject it with the home implementation repository. This ensures our block is available throughout the app. It might not make complete sense just yet, but it'll all come together as we go. Then we wrap matrix with the block provider. Inside Material App, we'll define our theme data to include the Circular Standard font. Finally, we'll set the home property to the endpoint, which we'll create shortly. Next, let's open home_recycler_view.dart. We'll import Image Picker and define an abstract class called home repository. Inside it, we'll create a method called pickImage, which takes an image source and returns a future of xfile nullable. We add the question mark after xfile because the return value could be null. For example, if the user cancels the picker. After that, we create a class called home implementation that extends home repository. Inside it, we override the pickImage method. Since we're going to await the result, we mark this function async. We instantiate an image picker, then create a variable called pickedImage of type xfile. We await picker-pickleMagin, passing in the image source argument. Finally, we return pickedImage. Now let's set up the block events. In home event Dart, we define an event called pickImage, which extends home event. It will hold an image source property, so when the event is triggered, we know whether the user wants the camera or gallery. Next, we create a remove file event, which also extends home event. This will be used when the user wants to clear the selected image. Now let's define our block states in home state .dart. First, we create a home loading state that extends home state. This will show some loading UI while the image is being picked. Then we define a home loaded state, which includes an xfile property. This holds the image file we get from the repository and we'll use it to update the UI. Finally, we create a home loading error state, used when something goes wrong, like a failed image pick. It will have a message property that we can display to the user. Now let's take a look at the home block.dart file. At the top, we import the image picker package. After that, we define the home block class, which extends block. The block listens to home event and emits home state. First, we created a final home repository variable called home repository. This allows us to access the repository functions. Then we create the constructor for home block, passing in the home repository. Inside the constructor, we define our event handlers. We call in home event and this listens for incoming events. Inside the event handler, we check if the event is pick file. This means the user wants to pick an image. If it is, we enter a try catch block to handle potential errors. First, we emit home loading. This will show a loading UI while the image picker is active. Next, we create a variable called pickedFile and call home repository pickImage, passing an event/image source. This triggers the image picker and we await the result. Once we have the picked file, we emit home loaded, passing in picked file. This updates the UI with the selected image. If an error occurs during this process, the catch block is triggered. Inside catch, we emit home loading error, and we pass in e.toString so we can show the user the error message. Finally, if the event is not pick file, but instead is remove file, that means the user wants to clear the image. In this case, we emit home initial, which resets the state and clears the UI. And that's how the home block works. It handles picking images, manages loading and error states, and resets the UI when needed. Now let's move on to building the UI for our app. This is the homepage.dart file. We start by importing Dart.io because we'll need it to display the image file. Then we import Image Picker and all the necessary packages, including Flutter Bloc so we can use Block Builder. We also import our home block, some constants, and a dashboard widget to style the upload box. We're building this as a stateful widget, and inside the state we create a home block variable. It's initially null because we haven't instantiated it yet. We override initialization, and inside it we assign home block by calling context.read home block. This lets us access the block instance that we provided earlier in main.dart and ensures that the screen has access to the block once it's built. Now, in the build method, we create a scaffold with an apper. In the AppBar actions, we add a simple text button that says skip for now, just as an example action. Then in the body, we wrap everything in a column. We start with a title that says upload ID and a small explanation below it. After that, we add our dashboard widget. This is just a styled container. And inside it, we add a block builder. Block builder lets us listen to state changes in the home block and update the UI accordingly. If the state is home loaded, meaning the user has picked an image, we show them a upload complete message, display the image, and add a clear upload button. This clear button is inside a gesture detector. When pressed, it triggers the remove file event, which clears the state and resets the UI. If the state is not home loaded, meaning we haven't picked an image yet, we show the default upload view. This is a simple column with an upload icon inside a circle avatar and a tap to upload gesture. When the user taps this, we dispatch a pick file event with image source -gallery, meaning we're picking an image from the gallery. Below that, we add a little OR divider for clarity, and below that, a button to open the camera. This button does the same thing. It dispatches a pick file event, but this time with image source -manron, so a user can take a new photo. At the bottom of the screen, we add a spacer to push everything up, and then another block builder. This one listens to the block state and changes the upload ID button style. If we have an uploaded image, meaning the state is home loaded, the button is enabled and colored. If not, it stays grayed out. Right now, this button doesn't perform any action. It's just to demonstrate how we can connect block state to other widgets and control the behavior based on the state. And there we have it. We've built a clean Flutter app with a great UI and solid state management using Bloc. If you like this video, hit the like button and subscribe for more tutorials like this.